In this episode, I interview Kim Holmes, a fellow member of Ryde Swimming Club. For the Love of Swimming is a podcast that celebrates the wonderfully diverse community of swimmers and fantastic swimming opportunities that exist on the Isle of Wight off the south coast of England. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Sandy Cicognani. In 2019, I started the group Outdoor Swimming Isle of Wight as I wanted to find people to swim with in the sea. Since then, I've been on an amazing swimming journey, meeting some wonderful people who share my passion for swimming. I founded a social enterprise to support and encourage people to swim in the sea, trained to be an open water coach, developed the concept of a sea cafe, and have brought the sport of longe-cot, renamed sea hiking, to the place where I live. I'm part of the Outside Research Study team based at Sussex University, looking at outdoor swimming as a nature-based social prescribing intervention for depression, and I work in the voluntary sector on the Isle of Wight. For the Love of Swimming is also the name of a series of community events that aim to share information and inspiration and to connect people through swimming. So if you're lucky enough to live on or visit the island, look out for these events coming soon. Follow us on all the usual social media channels and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for more personal swimming stories. In this episode, I interview Kim Holmes, a fellow member of Ryde Swimming Club. Welcome, Kim, and thank you for coming on the podcast with me.
Oh, no problem. Pleasure to be here.
Can we just start? If you could tell me, what kind of a swimmer are you?
So I'm a competitive swimmer, but I'm a sprinter. I don't do anything long distance, and long distance for me is anything longer than 4 lengths.
Excellent. We'll start with some quick questions. What's your favourite stroke?
My favourite is probably freestyle, front crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your favourite distance?
50 metres.
Okay.
50 freestyle is my favourite event.
Yeah.
Splash and dash. Get there as quick as you can.
And what about your favourite time of day to train?
Always the morning.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as you get older, obviously work gets in the way. So the adult swimming times tend to be in the evening, which you get used to, but I'm definitely more productive in the mornings.
Same here, really.
Yeah.
And what about food? Do you have any particular favourite pre or post swim meals or?
No, I think I'm lucky, really. I enjoy all sorts of food. So even though I eat fairly healthily, it's not because I'm forcing myself to. It's just because I love all foods. But I mean, they say that pasta's a great one, isn't it? And especially if it's before a competition, I'm quite regimented with my pre-competition. So the night before, it's always a pasta meal,
right?
Usually lasagna and garlic bread. I have no idea if it makes any difference, but it could be psychological, but it's something I have to go through, the ritual. Yeah. Always a glass of red wine, because somebody once told me that is ideal before race day. And because I'm a red wine fan, I thought, absolutely, I'll take that on board. And then, if it's actually on the day of racing or before training, generally it's something with oats.
Right. And how long before training do you eat?
Just 2 hours for me.
2 hours, right.
Yeah, I can't. Some people can just get in the water after, half an hour later, but I really struggle. I can't, it really sits heavy with me. And I always swim better, whether it's training, racing, anything, if I'm a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, I think.
Excellent. Okay. Well, we'll go on to something a little bit longer, possibly. But can we start at the beginning? Where and when did you start to swim?
Well, obviously living on the Isle of Wight. And my mum she's not a very confident swimmer. She can swim, but she's not particularly confident. And obviously living where we do, I've got a brother, he's 4 years younger than me. So because we loved being down the beach, as all kids do, she basically thought, right, if we're going to be down the beach every day in the summer, you two need to be strong swimmers. So we started, as most kids do, at 4, up at the heights in Sandown. In our lessons, and we went through lessons, and then after that she thought, no, I want you to be strong swimmers, so she put us into the club,
right? And
that at the time was South Wight Swimming Club.
So how old were you then?
When I went into competitive, probably 8. We started at the club, 8 or 9.
So quite young.
Yeah, once you'd finished your lessons, I can't even remember what they were called then, but you went through your 10 stages, and then once you'd done that, you had the opportunity to move into the club, and she followed that through. So both my brother and I were strong swimmers as kids. which obviously when you're in and out of the sea, you know better than anybody with the currents and the waves, people just get caught out, don't they? And she, where she's not so strong herself, I think she worried that she wouldn't be brilliant if we really needed her. So she just wanted us to have the best possible chance. And my brother, being a boy, was, you know, always a bit over enthusiastic with what he did and got himself into trouble a couple of times. So yeah, and I stuck at competitive swimming through my teens till about 16.
Okay.
Then I stopped because obviously I thought, oh no, real life looks much more interesting. I don't want to keep on getting up at 5 a.m. and, you know, training when all my friends are going out and having fun and doing what teenagers do. So I stopped and, you know, just concentrated on other things. I still did a lot of sport. I still did hockey and gymnastics and tramp. I've always been quite into sport, but I just stopped the swimming because it was antisocial.
Right.
You know, and getting up at that time isn't really conducive for having a social life. But then after a few injuries with other sports, I think I was about 22 and I came back to the Isle of Wight Marlins Swimming Club where Jenny Ball is obviously, she was always a prominent figure. She was the founding person. So made contact with Jenny and came back to swimming that way. And then, that they're not a very competitive club. They're a lovely club, very friendly. And it was absolutely what I needed, the stepping stone to getting back to it. But it was from there that I moved from Sandown to Ryde, just, you know, moved house, and they had just set up Ryde Swimming Club in 2014 when I moved to Ryde. And somebody that used to be at South Wight Swimming Club, I just happened to pass them at Waterside one day and he said, oh, are you still swimming? Are you still coaching? And he said, it'd be great if you could help out. And that was it really. Since then, I've not left Ryde and still swimming now.
Excellent. You said the word coaching then. So have you trained as a coach? What coaching do you do?
Yeah. So I started my qualifications when I was 16. I did my assistant teacher's course. That was at the Heights. I remember clear as day being stood next to my mentor with the little kids looking up. I was absolutely terrified. So I did that one. I can't even remember when. And then I did my full teacher's course, my level 2. And I used to teach alongside Martin at the Heights.
Right.
Martin Lovett. And that was really nice actually, because it's something I've always enjoyed. And I loved teaching sort of young children because, you know, it's a real sense of achievement from a child not being able to swim at all to actually being able to swim to survive and then take it further. But it also helped me in life as well because I'd made the decision at the time to leave my job.
Right.
Just, you know, it wasn't for me. And I knew if I carried on, I'd be there forever. And it gave me the option because I didn't have anything else to go to career-wise. So it meant that I could do a bit of teaching, lifeguarding, you know, do some bits at the Heights as an interim so that I wasn't left with absolutely nothing. So it really helped, you know, mentally and also financially to have something in that gap. And that was, you know, it was a real help at the time. And then I did my coaching courses much more recently. I think it was just before COVID, I did my assistant teacher's course. And then it was last May that I got my level 2 coaching.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. So you still enjoy coaching then? Otherwise you wouldn't still be training.
Yeah, no, I love all of it. It gives me a focus. I think real life and working and it's all, there's so much stress involved. And for me, and I know everyone has their different things, but for me, swimming is a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Just getting in the water, you can't hear anything other than the water. The breathing's so methodical, it really calms me down. I suffer quite badly with migraines, and unbelievably, swimming is about the only thing that, as provided I can get to the pool, I can swim through a migraine.
Oh, really?
And it will actually help because of the breathing, because it calms you down. Yeah, it's a real tonic for me in so many ways.
And that's interesting because I see you as a competitive swimmer, and for me that's like a stressful thing, isn't it? But you say it's relaxed, so it's kind of how does that balance out that kind of stress and the relaxation?
I mean, competing is stressful. I do get very, very nervous on race days, but I think you have to have that. Otherwise you wouldn't care, you wouldn't perform, you know, it's a healthy anxiety, isn't it? But the training side of it is completely different. I compete mainly to keep myself training.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I've got something I know is coming up, then I know I've got to keep going. It's very easy, isn't it, to get in the evenings and sit down, have a cup of tea and think, oh, I really don't fancy going tonight.
Yeah.
But if you know you've got something coming up that you really should, you know, keep that baseline fitness, keep going. And I can honestly say I've never, ever come away from the pool thinking, oh, wish I'd never bothered tonight.
Yeah.
When in other things I have, you know, if I've got a niggling injury and I've gone to the gym and thought that was a bad idea, or gone for a run and you think, oh God, that was painful today. But with swimming, never.
No, interesting.
It's something that really helps me alongside work. And I think when you've got a stressful job, it's just nice to have that downtime.
Yeah. You can't really think about anything else, can you, when you're swimming?
No, but you completely switch off. I think when you've been doing it a long time, it's just so automatic. They say, don't you, when you're driving on the motorway, sometimes you think, God, I don't remember those last 3 junctions, because you're on autopilot. With swimming, you know, if you're doing a longer distance, especially, it flies by.
Yeah.
You don't even realise how much you've done, and it's a nice way to be.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, let's talk just a little bit more about competitions. Tell me about your most recent competition.
So the most recent one was actually on the Isle of Wight. Yeah, it was our...
You did rather well in that one, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really nice, actually. It was probably one of the best I've done, not because of performance or anything like that, but just because, like I say, Ryde's a really young club. 2014 it was founded, and most of the clubs, especially on the island, have been around forever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever, and they've still got the same coaches, which is amazing, the level of experience in them. We're a very, very young club. Yeah, so it's quite a young club, and certainly in the last 2 years, probably since everything kind of got back to normal after COVID, we've got a lot of master swimmers. It's always been an age group swimmer club, but in recent times we've got a lot more adult members, which is amazing. And some of those have never competed before. Some competed as kids and haven't done for years. So it's the confidence of whether you want to do it or not. And this event actually meant that there was more of us than usual swimming, which was really nice. And it was just such a great atmosphere. It's a nice atmosphere anyway, because it's a very chilled, relaxed meet. Adult swimming can be one of two things. You can make it as serious or as relaxed as you like at every single meet, whether that's Isle of Wight or Nationals. You know, there's people there to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not like when you're kids and your coach tells you, you must do this event, you need to get better at this event, you must PB here. The pressure's whatever you put on yourself. And having that team spirit, you know, it was Jenny and I that used to swim and travel for years. And now to have more of a team on poolside was really lovely. And we had some relays, some mixed relays for the first time ever.
Yeah, it was quite an exciting win, wasn't it?
It was. We had a couple. It was to the wire. And the nice thing was we tried different events. You know, like I say, I'm a freestyler and backstroker mainly, but I tried a 50 breaststroke and thought, well, why not?
Yeah.
So it made it just a bit of fun, and everyone just had a great time. And that's what it's all about. Competition, yes, you can do it to achieve times. You can do it to, you know, to better yourself, but there's also so much more you can get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. What's the next one you've got coming up?
The next one, it's actually Guernsey. I've never done that one before, but I hear it's very like the Isle of Wight, so very relaxed, a nice little pool. I mean, I'm just really going to make the most of having a trip away.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, does swimming give you much of an excuse to travel?
I think it does. I mean, not always to the most glamorous places, and because of work, it does make it difficult to travel to the more further afield ones, but I thought I've sort of made a decision this year that as much as I absolutely want to still compete, and I will continue to focus on my competitions, but I want to get more out of it. I don't want to, you can be guilty of putting too much pressure on yourself. And this year I really want to try and enjoy. So I'm not entering as many events as I would usually at Guernsey because I want to have a nice time as well. And there's 5 of us going from the club, and it will just be a nice trip. More than anything, with like-minded people. Whatever meet you go to, you see familiar faces that go to meets all over the country. So it's nice to catch up. There's always social side of it, meals, and you know, it's a nice social circle as well for the swimming crowd. Yeah,
it's great. Now, I'm conscious that any minute now we might have a load of sea swimmers coming in and disturbing us. So I've got a couple more questions. One, have you got any pet hates and or regrets about swimming?
The biggest regret for me is stopping for those 6 years. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I try in life not to have too many regrets, because you make the decision for a reason. I would love to see what I could have done if I hadn't, because, you know, you see you're up against people in your own age groups, which is great, but there are people that have never, ever stopped competitive swimming, and they will always be a class above.
Right.
But then equally, you've got to have a work-life balance. So I'd love to have seen it, what I could have done. But equally, you know, I'm very happy with my life as it is. And the path that you take leads you to where you are. So, you know, you've got to try and keep that in mind.
Yeah. And what would you say to because I've spoken to quite a lot of people who said they used to compete as teenagers, but the pressure got too much and they just stopped swimming completely. So what would you say to those people as adults now?
It's completely different. Like I say, you do it for your own reasons. I completely get that, because I've never ever been a fly swimmer and I really struggle with it. Some people are natural, they look so elegant. I feel like a swan where, you know, everything is doing absolutely like full speed under the water, and on the top you just about get by. But as a kid, I was put into 100 fly and I've never competed that before in my life, and I'm not capable of it. I'm not strong enough. And I stopped after 2.5 legs. I had to stand up in the middle of a race, and that destroyed my confidence. And my coach should never, ever have done that to me. That sort of thing wouldn't really happen nowadays, obviously different generations, but it does put you off. And it took me a little while to come back. But what I would say is, you know, if you start at the right meets, like I say, the Isle of Wight, Guernsey, the lower level ones, with the right people, you can do whatever you want. You can do little tasters. You can do just a 25 dash or a relay and just see if it's for you. It's not for everybody, but you don't have to do that to swim. You can still join a club and enjoy the social side of it, and the training and the being with people in the lane. That's a big part of it for me, is seeing people for an hour in the evening, having a chat in between your sets, your 10-second chats while you're waiting for the next 100 or whatever it is. So you don't have to do it. But equally, if you do, it's a very different landscape to age group swimming.
Yeah. Excellent. This podcast is called For the Love of Swimming. You've covered it partly, but what would you say it is that you love about swimming most?
I just love what it brings to my life, which I know probably sounds a bit cliche, but for me, it's physical fitness, amazing. There's no better fitness than swimming fitness. And you don't have to be competitive. You can just do, 20 minutes twice a week. You'd still get a lot out of it. But it's the mental side for me. It's the switching off. It's the socialising. I've met so many friends through swimming. And like, as with any sport, it's being with like-minded people that enjoy the same things as you, and it's easy company, and you push each other along in whatever direction you want to go in.
Amazing. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Take care.